Welcome back to Inside Politics. Our guest today is Jim Squires, a longtime distinguished journalist who's written a new novel called West End. It's getting a lot of comparisons to politics and history in Nashville. But I want to change it just for a second here on the show. Jim Squires has a long history of covering, I think he covered 12 political conventions, the White House under 3 presidents. That includes Watergate and the Nixon impeachment period. You've been a political analyst, Jim, on CNN, PBS, on Meet the Press. Have you ever seen a presidential race the way 2016 is developing, particularly on the Republican side?
No, I've never seen anything like this, and I don't know any of my contemporaries who have either. We are all stunned, I think, at the demise of the political process as we knew it. This is totally unlike anything.
Is Donald Trump for real? Could he actually be the Republican nominee?
I don't think he could be. I just don't know how he's going to implode, or how the Republican Party is going to manage him if he is not the nominee.
Well, there's a poll out that says 67% of his supporters said they'd vote for him if he ran in a third party. Now, if he runs in a third party, that hurts the Republicans. But what happens if he doesn't run, doesn't get the nomination? Where do his votes go? Do they stay home?
Well, you know, it depends on who replaces him. If they could find some other demagogue, some other attractive demagogue, they might hold them in there. But it seems to me that the Republican Party's committing political suicide themselves. Now,
you're pretty knowledgeable about third-party efforts. You worked and were a spokesperson for Ross Perot in 1992. I know Ross Perot and Donald Trump are not close to being the same person, although they're both multimillionaires. What are the differences and what are the similarities of those two?
Well, you know, I think if I can ever get through promoting this book and other things that I'm doing, I'd like to write something about that, because these comparisons suggesting, even for example, that Trump is Ross Perot on steroids is really another misleading failure of today's media. I don't say the press, because I don't think there is a press anymore. The institution of the press is dead. The media loves to say this is another billionaire, but on steroids. I can tell you that when Ross Perot's biography is written and the truth is told about him, I was there. I know about it. And he never wanted to be president, never intended to be president. We ran a crusade basically designed to keep from happening what has happened, the money in politics. Here, think about how ironic this is. Perot is going to spend his own money to make the case for public financed elections, shortened election time, a dramatic change in the way we elect public officials. And everybody knew that, with the exception of a couple of Republican operatives that we put on just to show we had a balanced team. But the people who ran this campaign, and it was a small group, Tom Luce, Perot's lawyer, Perot's business partner, and myself, and Hamilton Jordan, who was in with us from Carter, we never intended to be president. We pulled out when it looked like we were going to cause some trouble by throwing the election.
Then he got back in.
Well, he got back in only so he could run his commercials. If you weren't active, we had already spent all this money making these commercials and bought all this time, and then they wouldn't let him do it. So we had to go back in just to run the commercials. We were all about balancing the budget and stopping this push toward money controlling everything.
One question about Perot. One of the people who was pushing him to run for president, as I recall, back in 1992, was John J.
Hooker, John Siegenthaler, and Larry King, and me. We were all in that together. And basically, the reason John J. Hooker, Tennessee was the first state that had to have on the ballot a vice presidential candidate for the person to qualify. So that was the rush to pick a vice president. And we deliberately picked one that we knew we couldn't go, say, to Al Gore or somebody that we wanted to go to the White House, because they think we're serious. We weren't serious. We picked somebody who knew we weren't serious.
Hillary Clinton is a shoe-in to be the Democratic nominee.
It looks that way.
Is the country ready, after electing an African-American to 2 terms, to elect a woman president?
Well, if all the minorities and all the women go to the polls, you can't stop her. If they don't have a big turnout, somebody might beat her.
Now, in your book, you make, particularly towards the end, the case that the progressive movement ultimately triumphs because of Barack Obama being elected president twice and moving the ball down the field if this was a football contest. Is the same thing true if Hillary Clinton wins? Is that another?
Well, that would be, I would think there would be another some step forward. I don't think it's the same as I mean when America elects a black president twice. There's hardly anything that can match that in the sense of equal justice under the law. I mean, the women have had as hard a time as they've had. It certainly was not as hard a time as black Americans had. So I think that the problem with where we are now is that success, which was a great achievement, has become now a roadblock and maybe even caused a great pushback. So we are now regressing and moving back from a lot of the progress we made simply due to the fact that they really did not want, some elements of this country did not want Barack Obama to succeed.
Along with your great love for journalism and politics, you have a great love for horses. You have a farm up in Kentucky. I think you raised some horses up there. Why not a book about how you're going to raise the next Kentucky Derby winner or Triple Crown winner?
Well, I hope I've written all the books that I'm going to write about horses. Once you win the Kentucky Derby and write a book about it, I don't know what else you can say. We have been in a big reform movement there to try to drive all the drugs out, and it's been a 7-year campaign. I wrote a book called Headless Horseman, explaining how, as an industry, thoroughbred racing is also committing suicide.
At this point, the West End is already out on the bookshelves. When do you expect this prequel book to be out?
I don't know when the prequel book is going to be out. I have no idea, but I hope it gets published sometime. Maybe posthumously it'll show up.
Well, I hope not. Jim Squires, thanks so much for coming on the show, and we may have you back again.
Well, I enjoyed being here. Thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us on Inside Politics this week. By the way, you need to read West End. It's a good book. I hope you can join us again for a future show. We have some other authors coming up in the next couple of weeks. If you can't make it for the next time show, go to the News Council Time website. You'll find my Capitol View commentary there. There's new commentary posted every Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you back here next time. Goodbye.